Hello and welcome. My name is Gemstone, and today we are back in Our Life Beginnings and Always. Apologies for the coming in and then going away. My microphone wasn't turning on, so I just had to re-plug it in. But hopefully everything is picking up alright. Hello Sky, hello Potato, welcome. How are you guys doing today? So we're gonna get straight into it. We are in the adult stage now. We're currently on relaxed love for our relationship status. You're tired? Oh, well make sure to rest then. But yeah, so we're gonna get into adulthood and see what happens. Doing good? I'm glad to hear that. No rest for the wicked. Well, then you should be able to sleep just fine. And your hip is being funky? Oh no. Well, take it easy, rest up, be careful. I'm an old spud. That is valid. Little do you know I'm an evil spud. I don't believe you. King Spud the Tyrant. Ah, yes, of course, your majesty. Understood. Bedtime, Granny. Uh-oh. What are you gonna say to that, Potato? Alright, so it is time to get going. So I do have work today, so I might have to end a bit early, depending when we finish whatever one we're on. But we'll find out as we go along. I think I want to do talks later. The silence, yeah. Maybe they fell asleep in their rocking chair. I disappeared for a second. What happened? Oh, nothing. You don't need to worry about anything. But yeah, so I think like talks, charity, drive, these feel big, so I definitely want to do them later. I might do talks last, because that one sounds like important. Unless I'm told otherwise. But let's just start with hang. Let's just work our way in for now until we know a little bit more about what we're working on. Ah, my room! You grabbed the large beach towel from off your bed and stuffed it into a bag. You had already packed your water bottle for your upcoming beach hangout session. Ooh. My dementia is kicking at full throttle, and so am I. Oh no. The stars had aligned, and somehow everyone was free today. Miranda had set things up with several bubbly phone calls between you, Cove, and Terry to find a time to hit the beach. You were hoping that this would be a fun time together. Oh no, I have to remember other voices. Again. Whoa! Cove sat on your windowsill and kicked one of his legs into the air idly. He already had his swimsuit on, and his towel was bundled under his arm in a misshapen ball. He'd shown up earlier that morning with a surprising amount of enthusiasm. He was chatting as you caught up to his preparation. But seriously, I couldn't find my swimsuit this morning. I looked everywhere, and it disappeared. I had no idea what I was gonna do. This image, yeah. Thumbs up. He's got abs. I guess he was like kind of a sporty guy in surfing and all that. That's valid. What happened to all your other swimsuits? I know that's not your only one. Cove looked away and shrugged. I might have some laundry to do. Anyways, I don't know why it was in the bathroom when I never put it there. He gave a small smile and readjusted the towel on his arms. You now could see that it had been folded at some point, but then rolled up and carried without much care. But I'm just glad I found it. It would have been crappy to lose my favorite trunks. No pants on the beach. Behave, you guys. It was nice to see Cove so happy and comfortable in what he was wearing. You walked over to your dresser and mused about how you had picked out your own swimsuit. Is it gonna let us choose what type? Your height had complicated your swimsuit shopping. Not many swimsuits were well-fitting on someone who's petite. And then for the shape of your body, a little chubby. And, well, my body's soft, but I also do have, I guess this one then. You had a little muscle definition. Your build was toned and firm with muscles that were there, though slight in size. You had gained more muscle in recent years. It was clear when compared to how you were when you were younger. Oh, yeah. I was thinking about some things. We just like space out while I'm choosing stuff. You're not thinking through multiple options, are you? Little did you know his abs are not just a block to grind cheese on, but a brick meant for grinding beef? Eh? Is that some kind of innuendo or something? What things? Just myself. And my body, really. His eyebrow rose at your admission of self-reflection. And what do you think? What did you think of who you were? You considered your identity further. Okay. Anyway. What? Mobile Twitch pain. Might have to go in because it doesn't want to work. Oh. All good. Thank you for trying to join, and I'm sorry that it's not working well for you. People had a lot of their identity wrapped up in their physical form. It shaped their self-image. You were comfortable in yours. Your body was you, and it was a good one that you felt content in. You had pretty much always felt good in your body. It was that way through your main growing years, and now that you were an adult, you didn't see that changing anytime soon. So me, I'm generally alright, but you know, there are some things here and there that I would prefer to be different, but in general, fairly satisfied. You focused on Cove again. He smiled at you and tilted his head, a question still in his eyes. He was waiting for you to come to an answer, but before you could, you had something to say to him. What do you think about me? About how I look, I mean. Cove smirked a little, his eyes taking you in easily. Fishing for compliments, Gemstone? You look great. Everyone knows that, including you, by the way. Unless that's changed? I didn't want a compliment, I was just asking. Fine. Cove shook his head. His hand went up to try and unsubtly cover his smile. I was kinda worried you were so in your own head, 'cause something was wrong. Guess not. I'm glad. Hey, Gemstone. Cove gave a bent smile, pointing to your arms. You're looking particularly toned today. It's... He answered not with words, but with a solid okay sign with both sides, and the same with both hands, and the same cheeky smile. Cove suddenly flushed when he realized how boldly he'd complimented you. He stood by it, even if he was a little red. You were a little taken aback. That came out of nowhere. You glanced at yourself. You like that? Yeah. You flirtatiously stretched. Tried to flex. Stood there stunned. You have some good arms yourself. Cove ducked his head and started to rub his left arm. It seemed he was much more prepared to rain praise on you than to receive it himself. He barely could respond. Thanks. You too. Oh, I already said that, huh? Thanks. Finally, you felt that was enough of that topic for one day. You went back to your original goal before you got sidetracked. You needed to pick what you wanted to wear to the beach. So go get it, girl. Yeah. I don't know what a tankini is, but anyway, I have a one piece, excuse me, I have a one piece with like a little skirt on it that I wear, but I have worn swim trunks with a top before. Well, not swim trunks with a top, but like pants with a swim top, so, if we're going swimming, like, I'm gonna wear swim something. Probably that. While you dug around in your drawers, you tried to think if there was anything else you were missing. A full swimsuit, cover-up. I normally wear shorts with it. I'll just, like, tuck the skirt in and wear shorts, and then use the top as it is. So, board shorts. With that taken care of, you held your outfit together and looked to Cove. He was tapping his toes on the side of the wall as he waited. You vaguely wondered if he thought that was a comfortable place to sit. You hoped so, given how long he'd perched on it. Regardless, it was time for him to go. You weren't going to put on your beachwear with him just chilling there. I need to change. Cove smiled, content with being kicked out. Alright. Cove lowered himself off the window and strolled past you to get to the door. He lightly brushed his fingers against your cheek when he passed by. I'll see you out front. Okay. When you were alone, you got undressed and put your swimwear on. You also checked your beach bag for the final time, and it seemed like you hadn't forgotten anything. You left your room and hurried down the stairs, ready to meet Cove. You made sure to lock your front door and walked outside. We were missing sunscreen, no skin cancer. Yeah. I mean, hopefully we put that on. Maybe it's just assuming, you know. But also it would be kind of like me to forget. Cove stood in the road, looking down and scuffing his feet on the asphalt. When you shut your heavy door, he looked up at you and smiled. Hey. Hi. Miranda and Terry are gonna be here in not too long. Terry even texted me earlier saying she was mostly on schedule. Why don't we just head to the beach and wait for them there? We're both ready. That sounded like a good idea to you. You said as much, and Cove shot off a quick text telling the two of them where you'd be. Cove gave you a thumbs up after the message was sent. It was a familiar path to walk, and it wasn't long until you reached the shore. Cove laid out his towel on the warm sand. You set up your stuff beside him and looked out into the ocean. The rolling swells hit the shore rhythmically. Don't know why I said it like that. You all had lucked out. It was a beautiful day. The sky was clear and the waves were good. It was a balmy summer day, but with a pleasant breeze to keep things comfortable. Essentially, it was perfect. Do you feel like heading into the water? Maybe just walk down the shore? Or do you want to do something here? Either way is fine. What would you want to do? Maybe walk a little. At first, anyway. We can do that then. Cove nodded, accepting of the plan. He kicked some sand off his towel absent-mindedly. Yeah, sounds nice. You took a deep breath and tasted the relaxing, salty air. Cove caught your eyes and gave you a small smile. You chatted a little before a comfortable quiet settled over the two of you, content to watch the waves as you waited for the others. Luckily, it didn't take long until you heard shouts. You turned your head to see both Miranda and Terry running straight for you. Miranda was faster, making leaps and bounds across the sand. Terry followed in her wake, laughing with her towel clutched around her shoulders and flowing like a cape. Oh, what fun friends. Miranda started making her jumps more theatric and more precarious as she got closer. Cove waved them on with a bright grin. You waved too. Terry tried to wave with both hands while running, one for you and one for Cove. But she was distracted and lost her balance, nearly falling, laughing all the while. Ah, cute! The two officially arrived at Cove's and your setup, looking completely ready for an ocean adventure. They were already in their swimwear and were raring to go. Heck yeah! Hey Terry, Miranda. Welcome to our beach. Hello, hello! She beamed, and Miranda nodded with a smile. Man, I am so pumped! Yeah, I'm really glad this worked out. What have you guys been up to over here in your town? Cove? Gemstone? Have we missed things? Cove blinked, and then shrugged when nothing you wanted to mention came to mind. Family's all fine. Let's move. What have you been up to? The usual. Terry laughed and mentioned a few things about her own parents. Miranda brought up her family and shared some of the wild things her older brother had done. Terry then started talking about her morning and how she'd almost overslept since she had stayed up too late last night. She bounced on her feet as she spoke. But don't worry about me being tired today. You know I ran on less back during school. Miranda filled in the group about her morning. Apparently, everything had gone smoothly. She'd met up with Terry on the way here, and you knew the rest. Cove offered a suggestion to the girls. Hey, let's walk while we catch up. Oh yeah, definitely. Once everyone's stuff was settled on the beach, the group strolled over to the shoreline. The wet sand was cool under your feet. A wave rushed up and covered your ankles in water. You flinched from the suddenness of it, but by the next wave you were acclimated. You took another step forward and sank a little into the ground. Behind you, your footprints were soon smoothed by the waves. Your friends chatted as you all walked together. You took turns pointing out cool shells or pieces of sea glass. It was a relaxing jaunt. Hours passed, and the group had moved between different activities, some low-key and some more exhaustive. For you, it was another break time. You sat on your towel and sipped out some water. Your friends were at hard work burying Terry's full body under a pile. Miranda used her arms to force up sand around Terry's sides. Cove worked on covering Terry's feet. You took another drink and closed your eyes. Eventually, a shadow passed over you, dampening the light that was still notable even behind your eyelids. You checked to see Cove had joined you there. He knelt down to dig around in the pile of assorted beach stuff in the middle of everyone's towel set out, and pulled out the sunscreen. He took a seat next to you on his towel. You opened the bottle with a soft pop and began to reapply the cream. Okay, good. They did use sunscreen. Hey. He reached his hand across his chest to work the sunscreen in, and you might have checked him out a little from the corner of your eye while still sipping some water. Are we thirsty? I mean, obviously, but in more than one way. After you finished up, Cove let a comfortable sigh and looked off into the distance. But then he sighed again, this time in an exaggeratedly disappointed way. You wondered if he was going to sigh again, even more dramatically if you didn't say anything. Let me guess, he can't reach his back? What's wrong? You honestly wondered. You inspected his face to see if there was anything actually distressed about him, but he still just looked like he was exaggerated. You asked anyway, since it was obvious that's what he wanted. Cove shook his head, comically despondent. His frown didn't match the sparkle in his eyes. I'm just becoming another jaded adult, that's all. Now you were really confused. You waited for him to continue, and his next sigh did not disappoint. It was the most ridiculously sad sigh you had ever heard. Then he smiled a little. Mermaids aren't real. What? That had not been what you were expecting. He continued. You know how much I liked mermaids as a kid. Well, merfolk as a whole. I really hoped that they were out there. The ocean's a big place, right? They could be somewhere. But the older I got, the more I had to accept it. They were just a fairy tale. Mood. He jerked his head over to the waterline and the rolling waves. They crashed against the shore and then drew back. This is a perfect beach for them. It's pretty and vast and never too crowded. If merfolk did exist, we definitely would have met one by now. Or at least we would have heard of someone else seeing one. But nothing. He acted as though that result was true bafflement. He let his head hang. I've gotta let the dream go. That's hardly proof. It's not like this is the only beach in the world. They could still exist. As you said, the ocean is a big place. Cove chuckled a little to himself, eyes tilted off into the sea, his face still low. Maybe it's for the best. Let's say a merperson did happen to wash up on shore one day. He looked at you with a faux, doleful expression. I could have lost my best friend to their magical underwater world. This game knows me too well. I would totally disappear and never come back. I'd go with the merperson, but only if you could come with us too. Cove grinned. He hadn't expected that answer. You're a nice person, Gemstone. But what if they didn't want me? Would you seriously stay on land? You gave him a look. You meant what you had said. It'd only work if the offer was for both of you. Personally, not a huge fan of the water, but any other magical world, like, if I was offered, I'm peacing out. Are you sure that's the right call? If a beautiful, kind merperson falls for somebody, I'm pretty positive that the sensible response isn't to turn around and say, no thanks, I'm gonna stay on land with a normal guy. Since this is all... Ooh, that's cold. Since this is all hypothetical, why not have you be the merperson? Cove turned his face to beam at you. He brightened immediately. Now we're talking. I'd be a good merman, right? Heck yeah, dude. Your hair already fits in perfectly. A tail the same color as your eyes? Banger. That would be beautiful. I can see it. I have thalassophobia as well. Is that the fear of the ocean or something? Cove's gaze was drawn back to the water with shining eyes. He was clearly imagining some world where he was a merman who happened upon you here at this beach. You tried to picture what he could be thinking. It would be quite a lovely story. That's so cute. I kind of want to draw that now. Mermaid Cove and Beach Girl Gemstone. Fear of deep waters? Valid. It is. It do be freaky down there. I much prefer the sky. Oh, I guess that makes sense as a bird. Obviously, you don't want to be too near the water. It's thematic. And then you heard Miranda screech. Your attention immediately switched over to your friends. You saw that Terry had gotten impatient and shifted her legs. The walls Miranda had been meticulously building collapsed into a wet heap of sand. She surveyed the damage critically. We're gonna have to start over on that part. Do you want to just give up on this now? The burial must continue. I'll try not to move anymore. Okay. If you're sure, I'll try to fix this. Miranda started to rebury her, and Terry shot her a thumbs up. She realized too late that moving her arm was a bad idea. More of the sand on her crumbled, and Miranda put her head in her hands. Cove caught your eye and started to drag himself up. Seems like we're needed. You agreed and followed him over to the girls. Miranda nodded at you both with appreciation, and the three of you did your best to finish the job. You all worked out a system of using just enough wet sand to help hold the rest together. With 3 people, it didn't take long for Terry to be entombed. Terry grinned massively, and Miranda offered high fives. The pile was officially done. Classic beach stuff. Oh yeah! Resembling the Kool-Aid Man, she kicked herself out of the ground with gusto. Sand went flying in all directions, and a Terry-shaped imprint was left behind. Miranda yelled again, and Cove chuckled. There probably wasn't a better way to get out of it. The 4 of you continued to have a good time. You went on a shell hunt. Miranda managed to find the biggest while you found the most colorful. Cove caught a tiny crab. I do love reading about shipwrecks, and 20,000 Leagues Under the Seas was really good. I mean, some of the stories about the ocean are super cool. Just the real thing is like, Valid views. You did a bit of everything. There were impromptu games to just soaking up at each other's company. However, after a while you had all ran out of water. Drinkable water, anyway. It was decided that you'd head over to your Cove's house. Things were gathered, and you started to cheerfully walk up the road. What next? I don't have anywhere to go, so it could be whatever. Same. I guess we can keep hanging out. Terry snorted and readjusted her grip on her thighs. Don't sound too sure there, Cove. By this point, you could see your house. It hadn't taken you long to make the trip. The conversation continued with everyone throwing out suggestions. Are people hungry? She looked from face to face in inspection. Cove and Miranda shrugged in concert. No one was overtly opposed to it. However, you weren't really starving. It wasn't quite a mealtime. We could get dessert. Miranda put a finger to her lip in thought. With a smile, her voice became more confident. Yeah, that would be fun. Terry considered it, then shot Miranda a thumbs up. Sounds great to me. I can definitely go for that. I think that's a good idea. But there's nothing sweet at my house. Your friends glanced at Cove in his place. He shook his head immediately. Dad doesn't have anything good either. I mean, unless you want dessert-flavored protein shakes? Ew, no! She cut in and held her hands up as if trying to ward off something evil. Cove smirked. It's not that bad. There has to be some kind of sweet shop around here. Let's look it up. Terry nodded and started to dig around in her bag. I like the way you think. Terry continued to rummage in her bag and grew increasingly frustrated. She puffed out her cheeks and knelt down, setting the bag on the ground. With both hands free, she was finally able to fish out her phone. She raised it up in triumph for a brief moment of celebration. I'll search for something good. Terry got back to her feet, hefting the bag over one arm, tapping away at her screen in the other. But she assessed Cove from top to bottom. No shirt, no shoes, no service. Cove glanced down at his bare chest and feet, having not even registered it prior. He chuckled a little. I'll grab something. Cove moved over to his house. You looked towards yours. I have my shorts on. I'll be fine. You waited outside with the girls. You watched Cove disappear into his house. Terry was deep in the midst of scrolling through food options. You shuffled over to where you could see, and Miranda did the same. There's ice cream. People love ice cream, especially around here. I don't really feel like ice cream. Cool, 'cause I don't either. She flicked her finger up and another ice cream place showed up. Melty Moo Moo's Frozen Treats with an unfortunate cartoon mascot. With an unfortunate cartoon mascot. I like ice cream, it's just not for today. There has to be something else. You thought on it and Terry kept scrolling. You heard a door open and Cove reappeared. You were about to be surprised at how quick he was, but then noticed he'd just thrown on a t-shirt over his swim trunks and slipped a pair of sandals on. Of course. Hey! Everyone else exchanged their respective greetings and then looked back at Terry's phone. Oops. Terry scrolled further and then made an interested exclamation. Oh, what about this place? They sell crepes. That's something you don't see every day. Look how fancy they are. She shoved her phone into your face. It seemed like a cute shop. It didn't show any pictures of the actual building, but the food seemed good. It was one of those places that put a lot of effort into presentation, with branded wrapping for the crepes and well-applied toppings. Weird. I've never heard of it. I haven't either. Mysterious. But crepes are so good. She nodded her approval, as Terry admired more of the photos. I'd go. It's not too far, but we could drive. Terry cheered at the success of a plan made, and you all walked around to Cove's car. He had to run inside once more to grab his keys. He has his own car already? You waited for Cove. Terry leaned back against the car door as the group stood by for his return. The car beeped and unlocked. Cove ran up to you with his car keys in hand. His hair slipped into his face and he brushed it back. Shotgun! She clambered into the passenger seat without hesitation. You didn't argue and climbed into the back with Miranda. Terry activated the directions on her phone map and acted as their navigator, directing Cove to the crepes. The GPS tried to get Cove to turn onto a non-existent road once, and wanted him to do a U-turn instead of just using a left turn. But with Terry looking at the actual path, it went smooth enough. GPS navigation. You were led to a small stall in a parking lot, rather than a full building. That explained why there hadn't been pictures of the creepery's interior, and why it was new to you despite living in this town your entire life. It was a completely new structure that popped up recently. There was a window you could walk up to, and one for cars to drive up to. Cove parked with a laugh. I don't think I needed to put a shirt on for this, but I still want to try it. Let's go. Do you not trust us to eat in your car? She gestured to the drive-thru option. Cove shook his head with a snort. I trust some people here, maybe. But wouldn't it be more fun to actually check it out? Everyone acknowledged his point and piled out. Terry tried to tease Cove a little, but Miranda started talking about the last time she had crepes. Apparently, they'd been a dessert explosion, topped with multiple sauces, powdered sugar, and what Miranda was pretty sure had to be cake icing. Oh, that sounds so yummy. Oh no. That's sweet. Literally, it was so good, but I regretted it so much. I couldn't finish it, and I really tried. You can do it this time, Randy. Oh, what a cute little shop. There were some laughs. When you got up to the menu, you realized that there were more than just crepes. There were definitely crepes. Many crepes. However, the stall also had a lot of different drinks as well. Teas, smoothies, milkshakes. Jackpot! She grinned and held out her fist for a fist bump. Miranda high-fived it. Turkey! Ah! The two stared at the awkward, vaguely turkey-shaped hand configuration they had made, then slowly put their hands in. Down. Cove's mouth twitched in a smile. Well, now I want pancakes. Same. Oh, yawn. Sorry. You stepped up to order first. You glanced back at the menu. What do they got? They got frappes, they got crepes. On a summer day? Okay, but in my mind, like, smoothies and milkshakes and that is its own dessert. So, like, you could have it with a meal and it's kind of like drink and dessert in one, or you could have a drink with your meal and then a milkshake after it, because it's just a dessert. But a crepe is already a dessert on its own, so probably just a crepe, because most milky drinks do not sit well with me, so unless I have my milk pills, my lactose digestives. I'd like a crepe, please. There was a woman who looked a little older than you taking the orders. She smiled back at you, ready to hear the specifics of your purchase. For the crepe itself, you wanted... Ooh. Green tea? Lemon? Ooh. Okay. Summary, let's do like a fruity, like light flavored. Instead of something heavy like chocolate, we'll do like a light flavored fruity. Oh, lemon. Ooh. Maybe we can do like raspberry or strawberry lemonade crepe. For the fillings and toppings you picked, whipped cream, powdered sugar, strawberries, mixed berries. Not banana, not with lemon. Okay, lemon. Lemon, strawberries, berries, like a lemon berry. I don't think anything else would really fit it. And that was all. You paid and stepped aside to let your friends order. Cove got a lemon crepe with powdered sugar on top and the mixed berries. He also got a plain strawberry smoothie. Hey, we got like a very similar thing. That's so funny. Terry went crazy with toppings. Although she ordered a plain crepe, she had it smothered with whipped cream, cream cheese, chocolate chips, chocolate syrup, and bananas. Ah, banana chocolate. Heck yeah, good choice. Miranda opted for a frappe with caramel syrup and condensed milk. These are all such valid choices. The four of you stood off to the side as you waited for your treats. Gemstone, man, your crepe is gonna rock. High five for topping appreciation. She held out her hand expectantly. You fist bumped her palm. Let's turkey. Terry stared at your hands. She blinked. She looked between Miranda and you. Hello, Night Elf Danny. Welcome. How are you doing? Is this just a thing now? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean. Miranda's voice was surprisingly serious, while her face looked like she was seconds away from laughing. Terry shook her head dramatically. Order for gems. Oh wait, she was a woman. Order for gemstone. Ah, I've got to get that. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm doing pretty well as well. This game is so fun. Such a cute friend group. You grabbed your order. The others didn't take much time after that. With the goods collected, everyone admired their treats. Terry dug right into hers, and Miranda gave hers a tentative sip. Terry nodded acceptingly, with her mouth completely full. Miranda tilted the frappe over to her with a grin. Terry sipped it and clearly loved it. Been doing this game also? Literally your favorite? Ah, yeah. I could definitely see that. I haven't played a ton of games like this, but it is so cute. So cute, so fun. There's so many choices and personalizations. It's great. And the art is so adorable. She raised her crepe over to Miranda. You could tell that there was an intent to make it look nice. But with all the assorted toppings piled on, only so much could be done. Miranda took a huge bite with gusto and sighed happily. Terry seemed satisfied and took another slurp of Miranda's drink. Yeah, love how inclusive it is as well. Yeah, it sure does offer a lot of choices. They had both only gotten one thing, probably because they knew they'd end up sharing. Heck yeah, my sisters and I would do like splits all the time. Get two different things and either share a bite or completely split it in half. Well, okay. Kovenars are basically the same thing. I think the only thing different is I got strawberries and whipped cream as well as the berries. He did get a strawberry shake, but I mean, there's not much for him to try on mine because he's got basically the same thing. So I would do it with my sisters, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess I would offer to share mine. You offered to share your order with everyone. You held up your order a little, bringing it to attention. Your friends looked at you, curious. Anyone want some? Yes, dibs! You can't call dibs on someone else's food. Except that I did. Everyone can try it if they want. Thanks, that's so nice. Miranda took the first round, and then, with a smirk, passed on your order to Cove instead of Terry. Ah, Randy, my dibs. You can't claim gemstone stuff. Fine, I can wait for it. Chuckling, Cove seemed to greatly enjoy his taste, and didn't pass it on to Terry until he'd stopped chewing slowly. Finally, she accepted your order with gusto and took her taste. It's so good. Thanks, Gemstone. You gave your reply in between sips of Miranda's frappe and munches of Cove's crepe. We get to try the others as well. With that, Cove started to eat his treats in earnest. You saw him take a huge gulp of his smoothie, and then without swallowing, he added a bite of his lemon crepe. Yeah! He had like a strawberry smoothie and the lemon crepe with mixed berries, and I had just strawberries on the crepe. We've got basically the same thing, which is kind of funny. Cove? Terry tore off a piece of her crepe and handed it out to... I can speak and read. Terry tore off a piece of her crepe and held it out to Cove. Care to make a trade? Sure. My voices for those need to be a little bit more different. Instead of continuing to loiter in the parking lot, the four of you started to walk down the sidewalk. There was a lot of sharing going on, with crepe bits and toppings being passed around. Oh, they're so comfortable as a group of friends. That's so cute. You wouldn't have been surprised if Terry ended up drinking more frappe than Miranda did. You kept going down the way, eating, drinking, and chatting. You hadn't realized just how far the group had wandered until you ended up at the now leaving sign. Apparently, you were just about to walk right out into the middle of nowhere. I made it all the way to the edge of town. That's kind of funny. Terry took her mouth off Miranda's straw and stopped sipping the frappe. That was such a cute little squeak. Impossible! Preposterous! How are we already at the end? I always forget how tiny this town really is. Cove chuckled a little and swallowed a chunk of Terry's crepe. It kinda is, huh? It didn't feel that small when we were growing up. You quietly nodded along. Not disagreeing with Cove, you gave acknowledgement of his words. Sunset Bird really did feel smaller these days. I guess this means we should probably head back. One doesn't just walk into Nowhere Land. We're not only one, Terry. There's 4 of us. Terry scrunched up her face, not wanting to acknowledge the bad joke. She decided to ignore it. It stinks having to go all the way back. Yeah, but it's not like there's anything out that direction. If we did keep going forward, it would be an even longer trip home. You stared off into the stretch of road, as Cove agreed that he didn't want to go out any further. Can we take a break first here before we turn around? We've been walking for a while and someone finished my drink. Right on cue, Terry loudly sucked air from the straw. It was so good. Miranda looked at her, but Terry remained unrepentant. In the end, though, it was agreed to hang around the sign before heading back to the car. It didn't take long to finish the rest of the food and drinks. Everyone gathered up the trash and stuffed it into bags and pockets for now. The group relaxed on the grass, keeping account of all the cars that drove past. It was not a high number. 14. The newest passing car drove into town from somewhere outside. But as the vehicle came by, it slowed down, and you watched as it ultimately rolled to a complete stop. Oh ho, who is this? Ah! Is this our neighbor? The black car parked right by the now leaving sign. Everyone exchanged a baffled look, but then the tinted window rolled down and the driver peered out. As soon as you saw his hair, you recognized him. No one else you knew presented themselves so distinctively. Hey, neighbors! Cove also jolted with recognition. He pasted on a cordial smile and waved politely. Afterwards, he put his mouth back over the straw of his long empty drink, as if trying to act cool. Aw, Cove. You waved at him. You leaned forward and tried to get a better look. His hands were loose on his steering wheel, and he seemed rather relaxed to have just pulled over on the side of the road. You waved and he nodded in acknowledgement, and you thought about the odd picture this made. A fancy black car pulled over to talk to a group of teens, mostly still in beachwear. Miranda was incredibly confused and shrank back to watch. Terry tilted her head in an unspoken question. Cove made a quick gesture pointing towards Baxter, and a light bulb went off for Terry. Ah! That's the new person in the condo. The bee-man, right? The bee-man. Yeah, Baxter. I wasn't sure if I'd ever actually see him. Her voice was quiet. Miranda usually got shy around new people. Terry was quite the opposite. Incredible! This is perfect! Terry hopped up from the grass and ran to Baxter's car, all full of excitement. Behind her, Miranda picked herself up and dusted imaginary dirt off her clothes. She sent a searching look to you and Cove, to which Cove shrugged. Miranda nodded and, with clenched fists, hesitantly followed Terry. Oh, that's such a mood. Terry bent down to talk to Baxter through his window. She blasted through introductions, with Miranda putting in a shy wave. Cove looked at you. He still clearly had no intention of going over. Come on, Cove, be polite. Our friends are there, so you don't have to worry too much. You encouraged Cove to come. Come on, let's go and see him. Aw. Cove pouted, his cheeks flared out in a childish puff. I don't want to. I don't know what to say. You can go. I'll just wait until he's gone. You really should come. You can do it. Do you want to be the only person who doesn't go see him? Well, why can't you stay here with me instead? You sighed. He was definitely going to be difficult about this. Some days he really was that same grouchy 8-year-old you met all those years ago. Okay, what's the polite thing to do here? I don't want to leave my friend behind. He obviously doesn't want to talk to him right now. It feels kind of impolite to not go say hi, but I did wave, and the other girls are already there talking to him, so I don't have to interrupt if I just stay with Cove. I'm staying with Cove. The two of you waited for the others to finish up. You couldn't hear what they were saying from there, but you could see from body language that Terry was up to something, and Miranda didn't like it. You and your neighbor exchanged a look. After Miranda seemed to calm down slightly, Terry turned around to wave at you. She put her hands to her face to make a megaphone. We're getting a drive, aren't we? Come on, Terry. Come on, get over here. Baxter's giving us a ride. Cove's mouth popped open in surprise. Then his lips curled together in clear displeasure. I should have known. She's always pulling something. He took a slow breath and then shrugged. Guess we have to get over there. It's gonna be really awkward now since he knows we tried not talking to him. We were letting the other girls talk to him. At least that was my intention. Yeah, we can't hide over here forever. You followed him over to the car, apparently about to get a lift. I'm kinda like, happy to get a ride, annoyed that Terry did this, felt uncomfortable getting a ride from Baxter. Well, see, the thing is, we're like in our beach clothes and hopefully they're dry, but I still feel bad kind of going in his like super fancy car in probably sand and slightly damp swimmer. Although, I guess we've been walking for a while, so maybe it will be dry now. Slightly uncomfortable. You didn't know Baxter well enough to feel safe with him driving. Sure, you doubted he was gonna kidnap everyone or something. Your group had the numbers, and you were pretty sure you could all take him in a fight. But it still felt weird. Oh man, that's exactly it. You weren't in the habit of climbing into random people's cars. It always felt awkward. The seats, the smells, and everyone's car etiquette were always different. The car is a rental? Oh yeah, right. And hello. Well, that makes it even worse. I don't want him to get in trouble for there being sand in the car when he's done with it. You felt stressed out that Terry had put this on you. You arrived at the driver's side car window, and Baxter smiled welcomingly. Hello. Hey. Cove grilled him grilled? What? Greeted him mildly. Sometimes my brain tries to skip words. His expression cautious. Howdy, Baxter. Alrighty, plan made. Let's hop in. You hesitantly opened the back door and slipped inside. The car was clean and smelled of air freshener. You stared at Cove for reassurance as you scooted all the way to the other side. Cove squeezed into the middle after you. Miranda took the last seat in the back, and you all tried to awkwardly buckle up. Were back seats really made for 3 adults? It honestly didn't seem like it. I agree. They are way too tight for 3 adults of any size larger than small. Terry gladly took the shotgun seat and had all the room she wanted. Welcome to my vehicle. I hope everyone is comfortable. And if someone could point me in the right direction, we can be on our way. Terry went back to navigator mode and outlined their journey. It was basically a straight line with one turn at the end into the parking lot. Baxter nodded from up in the driver's seat and pulled back into the road. Luckily, the street was still dead empty. It took no time at all for Baxter to park right next to Cove's car. There wasn't even enough time for a proper conversation to start. The occupants didn't seem to mind. They were all smiles all around when Baxter parked next to Cove's brain malfunctioning. Pardon me. There were smiles all around when Baxter parked next to Cove's car. There we go. Woo! Sorry, I didn't want to cheer too loud. Miranda clapped quietly as Terry cheered. Cove chuckled nervously. You smiled. You were glad to have reached your destination, and pleased at the fanfare of your friends. You didn't say a word, but Terry and Miranda definitely caught your amusement. We've arrived. That was easy. Terry flung open her door and climbed out. Thanks. Well, she also said it. Everyone else exited the car as well. The group thanked Baxter with varying degrees of enthusiasm. Baxter himself got out too. Everyone congregated again in front of Baxter's and Cove's cars. Terry bounced over to Baxter and offered her hand for a handshake. He accepted it easily with a charming grin. You're a pal. You're too kind. It was no trouble whatsoever. I'll be keeping this car all this summer. If it suits you, you're welcome to take my number and give me a ring whenever you're in need of another ride. And that goes for everyone here. Try so hard not to say it. Anyway, I have a car. Terry busted into laughter, and Miranda fidgeted. She did not know what to do with that. Baxter really went fast, didn't he? Oh, maybe it was flirtatious? You're welcome to take my number and give me a ring whenever you're in need of another ride. Okay, anyway. He noticed her discomfort and smiled with a soft tilt of the head. I'd be happy to help again, but that's the only reason I offered. If you don't need it, you can pass on it. You stayed silent. When her giggles subsided, Terry put a hand to her chin with brows furrowed. I wonder, would that option be available right now? You could valet us somewhere cool. Not gonna lie, I hate Baxter's voice. That's valid. It's a very, just in the game, it's like a suave, kinda flamboyant was the word that was used to describe him before. Maybe I'll try and adjust it a little so it's not as irritating. Aw, Cove. Cove was taken aback. He put a hand on the hood of his car. Weren't we going back to the neighborhood? Wasn't Baxter going back to the neighborhood too? Why would we go somewhere else? Because we can. Miranda squirmed nervously, and then committed to piping up. We could go to the park near my place. It's a really nice place to hang out. You and Cove shared a look. The big park was pretty nice. Let's do it. Baxter tapped the side of his face in thought. Yeah, it comes across as rich boy pampered overconfidence. Look at my big fancy house. Indeed. It definitely gets the character across pretty succinctly. She didn't even ask if he was busy going somewhere or anything. I mean, maybe that happened in their conversation, but still. My whole chat hates Lizzie. Everyone is a Lizzie hate club. Yeah, when she's younger, it's definitely oldest sister vibes. Rubs neck awkwardly because I was not quite like that, but still a little, bossy, so. But slight spoiler, she's not as bad when she grows up, so hopefully you guys grow to like her a little bit. Oh, you're the younger sister? Valid, you probably relate a bit more then, and have that residual feeling of it. Whereas I'm like, oh, I kind of get it. You're like, no, she sucks. I know I've played this game multiple times, but don't want to spoil. Keep getting yelled at. Valid. Well, thank you for your consideration. He glanced at Cove, and then switched focus to you. We have 2 cars. If some people want to go to the park, I could still take the others home. But if everyone's going, it wouldn't make sense for me not to. See, the problem here is I know that Cove's clearly uncomfortable with this. But today, it mentioned at the start that it was rare for Terry, Miranda's, and our schedules to line up. So this is our one day that we managed to get. So I feel like if we just abandoned it because someone else showed up, it would be kind of rude. So I think we should continue the hangout session. I know Cove's gonna be a little bit uncomfortable, but he also still gets to hang out with the others, so... Because he didn't say he wasn't gonna come, right? He said if everyone wants to, he'll go with us, so... We'll continue the hangout session at the park. You weren't ready to tag out just yet. You came to a decision and turned to Cove. Let's go to the park. Alright, park time it is. He smiled a little. Terry cheered and Miranda nodded happily. You felt like you made a good decision. Yes! Logic. Reasoning. It worked. To the car. Again. Which car? There are multiple. You watched to see if Cove or Baxter had an answer. Cove sighed and ran a hand through his hair. He tapped on his car's hood nervously. We can go in Baxter's, I guess. It'll be less of a pain than bringing both. We're all going to the same place. Are you okay with that, Baxter? Certainly. I meant what I said. When you need a lift, I can give it. Yeah, that's a little bit less extreme. Neither you nor Terry brought up any objections, and so the gang climbed back into Baxter's nice ride. This time, Baxter offered to turn on some music. After all, it would be a little bit of a drive to the park. I would just not speak. His ride is choice, so play what you normally would. Don't mind us. I'm sure the others will speak. Well, I'm sure Terry will speak up if it's not what she wants. Ah. Yeah, I would like to see what kind of stuff a guy like you is into. She's so fascinated. It's really funny. I hope the playlist lives up to expectations. He plugged his phone into the car with an aux cord and turned on some alternative music. With the music taken care of, Baxter put the car in drive and pulled out of the parking lot. The lot was practically empty, but you noticed that he was careful anyways. During the trip, it changed to hard rock, punk, and even screamo. Despite his personable demeanor, he didn't seem to like upbeat tracks. These are all the kinds of music that I hate. that I'm not personally a fan of. So, I would keep quiet because I'm that type of person, but I would be in my head begging for it to stop. Oh, Gemstone is suffering. Alright. Ooh, nice lighting. Golden hour. It took a while to arrive. By the time you got there, the sky was golden with the orange streaks of sunset. Ooh, what a lovely park. Everyone got out of the car and started to stroll along one of the paths. You walked by the basketball court and some picnic tables, taking in the sights. Miranda seemed amazingly content, the location helping her relax in the company. Yeah, 'cause this is by her house, so she probably comes here all the time. She led the way, sometimes stopping here or there to point something out. Baxter turned to her and nodded along. I've never been here, but I definitely see the appeal. Man, this is Randy's stomping ground. She's been coming here forever. Seriously, Miranda, have you ever had a birthday party that wasn't here? You've missed out, Baxter, 'cause every year she has a blowout party at the park. Imagine balloons everywhere. Miranda looked down, suddenly shy again with the attention on her. She let out an awkward laugh. Yep, every year. The group followed Miranda along to one of the picnic tables. She took a seat and Terry slid in beside her. You spent the evening chatting amongst each other. Everyone got to know Baxter a little better, although you could tell Cove and him still hadn't fully clicked. At one point, Miranda found an abandoned soccer ball and started tossing it around. To me! Miranda threw the ball to her, and Terry caught it with a smile. Think fast! She chucked it at Baxter, who only had enough time to squeak. I love squeaks, they're so cute. Ah! Something like that. It bounced off his chest and he stared at it, dazed. He blinked, as if he needed time to process what exactly had happened, but then grinned dangerously. He rushed after the ball, and rather than throwing it back, he surprised Terry and everyone else by lobbing the ball high into the air. You bent your neck back to watch its ascent and inevitable decline. Baxter hooked it with his foot and launched it up again. There were oohs and ahs from Terry and Miranda. Baxter gave them a very proper bow. When it finally fell to the ground for real, Cove was the one who picked it up. He was impressed, and he wanted in. With that, everyone was drawn into the game. It was unspoken that whoever did the fanciest trick won. Most of the gang was not particularly practiced with throwing a ball, so not many of the tricks were actually good. However, there was a lot of laughter, and you got to see Miranda pull off a round-off while she threw the ball with her feet, so that was cool. Heck yeah, she's a gymnast. Gymnastics girly. That does sound cool. Ooh, this lighting is so nice. Ah, summer evenings. The sunset eventually darkened into night, and the streetlights turned on. Your group's chosen picnic table laid in a bubble of light. The occasional bug cast a shadow as they flew by. It's a little strange being here so late on a normal night. Usually that only happens if there is a party, or an important game, or a fireworks show. It's not a normal night, it's a hangout day. Fireworks! Her yell startled Baxter, who was throwing the ball nonchalantly from hand to hand. He missed catching it and it sailed sadly back to the ground. He looked at Terry for her loud outburst. Oh, I just remembered. There's gonna be a fireworks show tonight. It's in the city. At everyone's questioning looks, she huffed and tried to explain further. It's some celebration for the opening of something. I don't remember what. I don't think we could get into the actual event anyways. But we should still be able to see the show if we got close. You can't keep explosions in the sky away from the public. Cove raised an eyebrow and drummed his fingers on the table below him. You want to change locations again? Wasn't the last 2 times enough? Terry rolled her eyes, then shook her head. To her it was obvious. Don't be a wet blanket, Cove. What about you, Gemstone? Randy? Baxter? Don't you want to see fireworks? Absolutely yes. It's fireworks, we gotta go. I guess they are fireworks. Alright, whatever. What's one more scene change? Why would you not want to go see fireworks? Fireworks are so fun. Like, I try not to have strong opinions on like going places if other people are uncertain about it, but fireworks, come on. Heck yeah. Yush! I knew this was a good idea. In turn, 4 sets of eyes looked to Baxter. I'm gonna get his name so wrong one day. I'm actually gonna call him something bad. As the driver, his answer made or broke the plan. He chuckled softly. In for a penny, in for a pound. I'll go. Genuinely, there's nothing better to occupy my time tonight. We better hurry or we might miss it. Cove rolled his eyes but laughed. Everyone headed back to the car yet again. Terry brought out her phone to navigate to the city, and Baxter stepped on the gas. You were on your way. He drove past buildings aglow in warm yellow light that cut through the navy-black night. One office building had bright LED lights that cycled through a whole rainbow of hues. It was difficult to get through all the traffic on the road, let alone find parking this late at night. Luckily, Miranda had eagle eyes when it came to scoping out a spot. She pointed to a sedan pulling out, and Barker? And Baxter parked within seconds. Barker. Oh boy. Why does my name hate his... Why does my brain hate his name and speaking and reading in general? Anyway, there could be some sensory overload issues with fireworks depending on how close everything is. I've been to shows that set a sea of car alarms from the shockwaves. Oh gosh. Yeah, I definitely get the sensory overload stuff, but it sounds like we're gonna be kind of far away from the event, so I figured it should be alright. We can get a distant spot that's not so loud, but we can still see them. But yeah, I mean, fireworks are crazy sometimes, but they're just so beautiful. Not wanting to miss the show, you all raced down the waterfront walkway to find a place with a good view. What about here? Cove peered across the rails into the distance and shot her a thumbs up. It was relatively quiet, isolated, and you could see skyscrapers. That was a good sign based on where Terry thought the event was. Yes, yes, this should work just fine. She stopped and tried to catch her breath, her hands on her knees. Miranda leaned against a wall between establishments as she recovered. Cove took a moment to breathe as well, stretching his spine back. He looked up at the sky in wonder and let out a relieved sigh. Think we've missed anything? Not a chance. Nothing's happening and we can't be so late that we missed everything. Maybe it'll start soon. You felt excited. The spontaneity of the whole thing combined with the amazement of fireworks was a recipe for you to be bursting with anticipation. It couldn't start soon enough. I'm not often a spontaneous person, so if someone else is like there and helps me be, oh, it's such a good time. It takes a lot of energy and I'm knocked out the next day, but during it, it's like the adrenaline and stuff is just buzzing. It's great. Terry led Miranda to sit down on the oval slabs along the path. I think these things? Miranda took a seat and began tapping her knees together as she waited. Terry, meanwhile, crouched more than sat. Baxter flashed an unreadable smile at Cove and you, and then took a spot next to the girls. Cove seemed surprised, and looked over his shoulder to watch him begin to chat with Terry. I guess he's trying not to upset us? Whether he left to make Cove and you more comfortable, wanted to escape potential awkwardness, or if he had really just hit it off with the girls earlier was anyone's guess. That's nice. I think Baxter's chill. Something seemed to strike Cove, as he tried unsuccessfully to hide a smile. We're all still in swimsuits. Wearing beachwear in the middle of the city, in the dark, while waiting for a fireworks show, was clearly the joke of the day for him. Cove snorted once, and then looked back up at the sky. A flash lit up the sky with a brilliant green. Your eyes flew off the building in the distance. Flew off too, maybe? Flew off to the building in the distance and silently watched with bated breath. You heard a second boom, and a red firework lit up the night. Woo! The show's starting! It's so pretty! They came running over to get closer, positively beaming. Terry pressed herself to the waterfront fence, getting as close as physically possible without just going swimming again. Baxter followed a few steps behind. His mouth hung open at the sight for a moment until he caught himself and once again shifted to pleasantly composed. Aww. That's so endearing. More fireworks went off, shooting out hundreds of tiny sparkling lights. The colors stood out starkly against the dark of the night. The biggest ones washed your surroundings with their hue, turning your world blue, then red, and then golden. Did I deliver, or did I deliver? Miranda's eyes glittered, and she lightly bumped Terry with her hip. Good job. Terry stumbled at the friendly nudge, but was pleased with the compliment. She grinned back. Miranda lightly swung her hips the opposite way to give you a bump as well. It was friendly and soft. We did it! You smiled at her and nodded. You were glad that everyone seemed to be having a good time. Cove stared up to the sky with wonder, while Terry squealed in joy after a series of especially grand explosions. Yeah, we're far enough away that it shouldn't be too loud, but we can still see perfectly. Miranda pointed to one that was shooting up, and then gasped when it bloomed and turned into a huge sphere of violet light. Baxter smiled in appreciation. It was good to see your friends in high spirits. Also, Cove was doing alright, which is important, because he's canonically autistic, so I know that can be a lot. But he's doing great, so I'm very pleasantly satisfied. The rest of the group huddled around the railing to take in the show as closely as possible. Uh-oh, no one fall over, please. Miranda stood close by. Terry's hands gripped the top. Cove laid his arms across it while leaning forward, and Baxter rested his elbows on the rail, putting his back towards the fireworks. He seemed to have more fun watching the others than the actual show. Aww. Ooh. She pointed out a golden firework and beamed. Ah, that's so cool. Gotta say goodnight? By now it's getting late and I'm tired. Alrighty. Well, thank you for joining, Sky. I hope that you sleep well and have a wonderful night. Terry held up a hand for a high five and Miranda obliged her. Terry whooped and shot you a smile. What color do you think the next one will be? Without giving Baxter a glance, Cove answered immediately. Green. It was orange. Baxter chuckled, but wasn't interested in calling Cove out for being wrong. Is that your favorite color? Green? One of them. I think that's nice. It matches you. And is yours black? That's one of them. Bye-bye, Sky. Thank you for joining. Cove smirked just a little and left the conversation there. They're getting more friendly. That's so good. You stood next to Cove. Cove looked away from the fireworks and grinned at you. He was glad to be spending time with you and tilted his head at the spectacular multicolored firework above. I think that's been my favorite so far. He shot you another look and nodded, wanting you to move up closer. In front of him, you could see the night's lights reflected on the water. Ooh, should we lean against him or rest our arm? Well, I'm short. I would be reaching way awkwardly, so should we lean against him a little bit? Ooh, I know what Potato would say. You stayed like that. You stood next to him. Both of you were, You leaned against him. You rested against his side and let yourself relax. He felt solid and sturdy beside you. It was comfortable. You took a moment to watch him and the fireworks reflected in his eyes. Cove grinned like a kid. I'm glad we leaned against him. This is beautiful. Cove's gaze drifted from the show of dazzling lights straight at you, and he sighed dreamily. You didn't know when you'd last seen him so blissful. Oh, that's so cute. The spectacle continued to up the ante by bringing more fireworks out at a time. The colors danced across the sky and reflected over the water. You reached out a hand and watched as it was tinted green while a big boom sounded. Fireworks were a normal summer tradition, but this was admittedly an unconventional approach. Showing up in the city last minute to watch a display from a technically private event? That made this feel special in a way that just planning to go to a public fireworks show never would. Yeah. Terry's idea might not have left you with a whole lot of time to prepare, but it sure led to a unique situation. It was clear this was an unforgettable night. As the finale sounded, blazing the sky with unbelievable beauty, you remembered thinking that there might never be a night exactly like this ever again. Exactly like this one again. Not for the rest of your life. As you planned to hold on to the feelings you had in that moment for as long as you could. Wow. Beauteous. That was so nice. And I feel like Cove and Baxter finally clicked a little bit, which makes me really happy. Like, obviously not fully, but there was just, there was a little bit of a moment there, which I'm really glad, and also I'm so glad I leaned against him. That was really cute to look up into his eyes and see the fireworks. Oh, that sounds so lovely. But that is where I'm going to have to be leaving it for now. We definitely don't have time for another one before I have to get ready for work. So I hope you guys enjoyed the hangout. It was super fun. Also, I thought this was like a party horn or something, but it turns out it's a delicious crepe. But yeah, so that was today, and we're going to continue at the same time next week with another fun bit of our lovely story. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. Farewell.